Production.
Welcome back, everyone, to Coming of Age, the podcast.
Coming up.
Oh, you hit a high note this week. Yo, man, let me tell you something before. Listen, I know what I'm about to say may not go bode well with the guests we have, but Tony Braxton is looking so like a fine wine, man. Fine wine. Fine wine, man. Fine wine. That beautiful voice you hear right now is one of your co-hosts, Azam, and that beautiful voice you heard just a second ago is my humble and handsome and was snowboarding down. You were in your underwear snowboarding this weekend.
Yes.
My good friend and pal and confidant, Frankness. How are you, Frankie?
I am fantastic. I'm actually exhausted right now. I don't even know how I'm still awake at this very moment.
I mean, you snowboard down a hill in your underwear. I assume that's going to take something out of you.
First of all, it wasn't underwear. It was swim trunks. Thank you.
Were those swim?
It was a bucket list item that I wanted to do. What is swim trunks? It's swim trunks, guy. Come on.
You're a Speedo guy. Aren't you the Speedo guy?
I was going to wear Speedos.
Yeah.
And then I was like, you know what? Let's just pull it back a little bit. So I just wore swim trunks. So leave me be, yo. I already got enough comments about it.
Yeah, I got pure like, yo, Zam, talk to your boy. Yo, Zam, what's wrong with your boy? Yo, Zam, what's wrong with your boy Frank? Zam, what's wrong?
Don't care. Don't care. I do what
you
I
know
want.
What? You
Don't
own it,
care.
baby. You own it. You own it. You own it. And
Zam,
yes, sir.
I think we have someone on the show this week, if I'm not mistaken.
I was getting to
Do
this. Oh, can I get to this? We have.
I just wanted to do a little poke the bear.
Yeah, and we are. You know what? This season has been great so far. It's only been getting better, and we're getting even greater and greater guests today.
Yes.
Today, we are honored to have Miss Amanda Chen. Amanda is not only an advocate for women entrepreneurship, she herself is a successful entrepreneur. She'll probably touch on some of that when she gets on this mic in a second.
Make sure you put a foghorn.
Pure horns and big ups for Amanda. Pure horns and big ups for Amanda. She recently launched the Miss Amanda Chen Show in November, and season 1 is aptly called hashtag 100 Masked Men. I won't get too much into it, but it is a hell of a listen. Oh, Lord have mercy. It is quite a listen. There's some of these things on there. But it's pretty much where, I mean, from just before Amanda jumps in here, it's 100 men have anonymously given Amanda their stories and have openly talked about their views on masculinity and the attention they've gotten from women and how women have contributed to their feelings, their successes, and their failures as men. So it is quite a listen. It is quite a listen. It's a great podcast. Miss Amanda Chen, welcome to the show. Welcome to Coming of Age.
Hi, guys. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Absolutely.
Oh, we're humbled. Humbled and honored. Humbled and honored. Humbled and honored. So, Amanda, tell everybody listening maybe a little bit about your podcast, a little bit about your past. We've read up about you. Again, I'm a listener of the podcast. I will say that. We talked a little bit about that before we got on air here. But Amanda, if you could just tell them a little bit about yourself and about the podcast.
Yeah. So I am a female entrepreneur, born and bred in Toronto, and I have been helping female entrepreneurs for quite a while now. And I realized that there was kind of a ceiling that I'd hit with a lot of women's movements where I couldn't get more support from women. It kind of just ended there. And then I realized, you know what we need a little bit more of, like better interactions between men and women. But I don't really know a lot of men, nor do I have much of a relationship with them. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to task myself and interview 100 men just to get a better understanding on what masculinity means to them and what they're going through, so that the motto of this story is really, seek to understand before you get understood. And originally I was like, you know what, I'll try and get 300 men. Let's be like ambitious. And then I was like, you know what, I'm going to tone it down a little bit.
You know what? I don't want to talk to 300 men.
300 men. I'll just get 100. I'll just get 100. Yeah.
Next week, you know what? Yo, 50's good. 50's good.
Yeah, I'm just like, whoa, this is a lot. So, yeah.
So it's the first season is called hashtag 100 Masked Men.
Yeah. So the funny thing is, I thought I was going to do a season, and then I was like, you know what? A season of 100 episodes is kind of crazy. So I've now split it up to 4 seasons of a quarter each. So
nice.
Of season 2 now. We're almost halfway through the 50, and then we'll have 2 more quarters afterwards. So
nice.
Yeah, it's been a cool journey, just kind of going through them all. Yeah.
Okay, so you're giving a good PG version of this, but can you please let people know what type of things? What kind of things?
They go into a little bit of specifics.
Oh man, these guys are giving everything away, man. These guys are giving everything away. So like, what? I mean, just maybe touch on a couple of things that these guys are talking about. Yeah, I don't want to give too much away.
You got to give names and addresses too.
So let me think. The first season was really interesting because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. Right, I was just like, I'm just gonna choose random people. I'm just gonna ask friends of friends to just bring any guy on the show because I had no idea what they were going to reveal.
Right.
So there was this one concept. So once again, a little bit of background with my company, Salty Paloma. We make flavored cocktail salt and sugars, mainly for margaritas, but then we ended up adding a COVID-friendly solution where we made cocktail kits available in the city, and we used to teach a lot of cocktail classes, so really heavy into the bar scene. So we end up talking a lot about interactions between men and women behind the bar. It's really interesting just seeing first dates happen all the time and just the interactions that happen in clubs. So most of the conversation was, what do you put down on the table in the beginning of your interaction meeting somebody new? And usually that's going to happen outside in the bar. So I'd always say, like, what's on the table? And I would like to know what those intentions are straight up. They might sound kind of crappy because maybe you don't really want to know this person very well.
Yeah.
Or maybe you only want to know a piece of them very well and nothing else. And that's cool too, but then just say that rather than kind of going around in a circle and making it seem like you want something else. And that's when I don't like it, when it's kind of like fake intentions. So then at least you empower that person to decide, yeah, I'm into that or not into that. So it's been a really interesting debate where people are like, well, I don't want to be a creep. I don't want to just be like, hey, yo, this is all I want. But at least that's honest. So I'm going to respect that. So
sweet up, man. They got to sweet up.
So you're oh, I don't want to get into that exam. Get out of here. So you're the lay the cards on the table type of person.
Yes. So I got all different, opinions on what they thought about that, but a lot of it mattered on what the person was going to think about them versus actually saying what you are up front. So it became a question on authenticity and whether or not you're being real. And I think it was interesting how literally the concept of 100 masked men showed how many masks, literally and figuratively, were wearing on the daily.
Yeah, I
like that.
I am listening to this, like, Amanda's show, and I'm thinking to myself, like, what circles did I run in that I never heard these men, like, I never heard guys talk like this. Like, the guys I know, like, a lot of them don't talk like this, and maybe, and probably, again, to what you're saying, that we have this
that's
mask,
the concept of the show, right?
And we put this mask on, and we're putting out a form of ourselves that a lot of times isn't real, right? And it's kind of a mask, right? And you just putting that anonymity. You know what I'm trying to say, right? That
animosity.
Yeah, animosity.
No, that's not right. No, I mean that's wrong. Right, never mind.
Yeah, just the idea of them being anonymous probably gives them this whole, like, this gorilla off their back. It's like, okay, I'm just gonna say what I think, say what I thought in this moment. It is a hell of a listen. It is a hell of a listen.
The truth comes out.
These guys are these guys like, are you seeing them in person, or are you doing it, like, are they literally like how I pictured them, like blackface?
I wouldn't be able to like
scrambled.
I wouldn't be able to look Amanda in the eyes with those questions. Yeah. Just
Oh my
You know when
god.
you watch like when you watch like CSI or like movies and stuff, and someone doesn't want to be seen, and it's like they hide their voices. They got like black screen over their face or like mumble like
and they have like
scrambled.
a dark, weird, robotic like
Yeah.
voice.
I
don't really know what's going on.
She came over to my house, and then we took off our. So are they in person, or are they just
my gosh.
are they a mix of everything? Is it a mix of like Zoom meetings and in person also?
They're mixed. In the vids, it's mainly Zoom, just because this began during COVID, right?
Right,
So
right.
you can only do so much. Every now and then, like any of my closer friends, they were in person, but most of them are virtual. But why do you think that it'd be intimidating to interview with me?
It's a trap. It's a trap. It's a trap. Don't answer, Zam. It's a trap. It's a trap.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
We never used the word intimidating.
Yeah. Who said that? We didn't say that. Hey man,
what you talking about?
Yeah,
what you talking about?
Yeah, she just she's trying to put us in a corner, man. You don't put baby in a corner.
Okay.
Oh man, that's funny.
Amanda, welcome to the show. Welcome to
Yes.
it's episode 53, I believe. And
It's 53, yeah.
We're going to be talking this week about communication, right, Frankie?
Yes. So if we roll into it, so first of all, I love the vibe we have so far. As our audience know, this is unscripted, not practiced. All we do is say,
we are prepared, though. I think a lot of people think that we just show up here, like we are prepared.
Yeah, we don't just show up with with our bellies full and be like, all right, yo,
all right, man, you're running, man.
No, we choose a topic, but it's always like we got a good vibe going on here. So again, I just want to say one more time, Amanda, welcome to the show. This week, as Zam said, we are talking about communication, specifically men and women, or between men and women. As always, we like to break it down so that everybody knows kind of where the direction is going. So first, we're going to talk about why is communication important. A lot of people have their beliefs about it, but we're going to dive deep into that. Then we're going to talk about how men talk to men versus women, and then vice versa, how women talk to women and men. We touched base on this earlier on in our podcast, but we did not have a female on the show. So now here's the opportunity for someone to cuss us out and correct us. And then lastly, we are going to talk about how can communication be more transparent / effective. Again, probably at that point, we're going to focus with regards towards the opposite sex, but we'll definitely talk about similar, like men to men, female to female, and then vice versa. And then of course we're gonna have Spin in 5. Amanda agreed to do Spin in 5. She has to do it. She's bound to it.
Got it.
We're gonna have a good one, and we'll tell you about that later on. So first, let's set the tone. Communication. There are so many. In general, I think people have so many things that are important in a relationship, whether it's trust, loyalty, which is the same thing, gifts, the sense of nourishment, etc. But I feel communication.
Sense of nourishment? What do you mean sense of nourishment?
Some people want.
Right?
Well, encouragement is one thing, but nourishment. Like some people want to be nourished, or some people don't want to be, right?
Nourished, like food. You mean like nourished or emotional?
No, man. Emotionally like nourishment for the soul, emotional, spiritual. Yeah, Zam, why are you already on me, man? Come on, man.
I'm just trying to make sure I'm responding to the correct question.
This guy had me sweating. I'm like, yo, what did I say? But communication. Would we agree or disagree that communication is important when it comes to all types of relationships? Let's set the tone right there.
Communication is key, man. That's what they all say, right? It's the only way to communicate.
So why is that? This can be related to in a work environment, an actual relationship, friendships, even doing groceries, talking to the cashier. I mean, communication can take you down a very deep rabbit hole, or it can set the foundation for something that can be beautiful, right? Let's start with let's say at work. We'll kick it off with Amanda. How do you find that you talk to men differently than you do to women, whether they're a boss or just a coworker or what have you?
I don't anymore when it comes to work context, but I used to. Yeah, I used to think that I would say women and on the workplace, especially in the corporate sense, there was kind of a chip on their shoulder. You know, they had to prove that they were in the same level as men, so they would have to speak in the same assertive way. But then you get like women that sound bossy,
Mhm.
in a negative connotation of that, versus if a man talks exactly the same way, he's suddenly assertive, right? So kind of the
Mm.
double standard in the way that is. But if she speaks emotionally or, empathetically in any way, then it's kind of too feminine, so you kind of have to keep it hard as you communicate. And that's more of a statement of status. So I'll get into this in terms of like how communication styles work between genders. It's about who's it's kind of like the pissing contest, like with dogs, like who's the master of the house. That's
Mm.
what you got to figure out in the workplace. So without that dynamic, if you don't know where your place is, then that means everything's up for grabs, right? So once that's established, and it's a lot easier to establish that among a group of men, because you guys know the group, like somebody is top dog, and then there's the rest, and there's the sidekick, and whoever. It's
Yep.
I think there's a pressure also on like those groups of people that have
very
been
groups. Yeah, that too, right? So
yeah,
there's
like
multiple
right.
aspects to it, right?
There's group
So yeah, again, it's power thing for sure.
yeah, like
Power and
there's
status, definitely.
yeah, any of the like any group that I think feels they've been held back, whether it be a minority group, whether it be women generally, especially in like corporate workplaces, there is a pressure there that I think is unspoken a lot of times, that you're putting on what you see or what you think is going to be the way that you have to be. You know what I mean? So it may not be your true self. You're putting on this power front of this like meanness, or acting like kind of like a way that you think it should be done. While the guys who are the norm, I don't want to point to race maybe right off the bat, but there's a norm that we know that kind of exists, right? And those guys are just probably freewheeling, right? They're just saying whatever they want to say whenever they want to say it. But like the three of us here, all being part of a minority group, there's a pressure that it's unspoken, and maybe we're not even totally aware of it when we're doing it in those situations, or people who are close to us who are doing it in their respective situations where they're acting out a role. You know what I mean? You're acting out something maybe you've seen, that you're not being your true self, right? You're not conveying to the people around you your true self. You're giving them sometimes the worst part of you, maybe, or a perception of you that isn't you. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I think it's interesting how you want to say like you want to be seen, but the way that you're being seen is not actually you. So then you're
You.
not even being seen, So then it's
Right.
kind of like, what is the point?
Right.
And I think that's when people are like, what? Why am I doing this? Like, no one is even seeing me anyway, and here I am following this whatever script that I'm being told I should be following, but no one's actually like holding you down to speak like that. You just think that that's like the right thing to do based on whatever preconceived notions that told you so.
Yeah, and those
So here's a
perceptions.
question.
Sorry, just if I can just get one point out.
Yeah. No, of course. Go.
Soon as those perceptions are out there, it's like you're fighting a losing battle, right? Like if that is your perception in that corporate world, in that company, in that business, like you're fighting a losing battle at that point, because it's hard to turn that ship. It's hard to turn that ship around once
Yeah.
that happens. And maybe because a lot of times if you get put in a leadership position, a management position, an ownership position, you might think, you know what? All right, I'm gonna give myself a little bit more to these guys. I'm gonna show my real self. People on the those guys on the back end are just like, yo, look at this guy is so so fake, man. You're so See, now they're calling your real self fake. You know what I'm saying? That because the perception's already out there. You're just it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah.
I was gonna say. So, do you guys think that there's any when we compare different scenarios? So we just talked about work. Well, if you compare everything from your close circle of friends to hanging at the bar to, like I said, relationship, whether it's intimate or non-intimate with female, is there any situations? Sorry, or is there a higher importance to communication in one situation compared to the other? So would you say it's more important to have clear communication skills for, again, because we just talked about work versus like Amanda was talking about a first date, for example, where you're trying to show intent or not trying to show intent, you're trying to impress instead. Like, is there levels to this game, or is it kind of all flatline? Boom, communication has to be clear cut, decisive all the time.
I think it's more the awareness of how are you going to speak to certain people, recognizing where you stand. So if I'm talking to a client, someone that's paying me, I'm in a position where I might be like, oh man, this client is so demanding or so annoying, and be like, this person's taking advantage of me, and I will act a certain way based on that. And I'd hope that that client that's paying me is going to be a little bit more sympathetic to me and like the extra work that I'm doing, or show that they value and appreciate the work I'm doing. On the flip side, if I'm hiring somebody, I know that I'm the employer now. This person, might be frustrated because they're overworking themselves. And I remember I was talking to this one girl and I was just like, is everything okay? Because you kind of sound like passive aggressive with me. I'm just going to say it right out there, because I'm the employer. I feel like I'm allowed to say that. Can't be the other way around. She can't be like, hey, I feel this way. She doesn't feel like she's allowed to. So at the end of the day, I was just like, what's the issue? She's like, oh, I'm doing all these revisions. I'm like, then charge me for it. If I wasn't clear communicating, it's also my fault. You don't have to hold it in. So, but that's my job as the employer in my position to realize that. So if I'm in a partnership, again, typically if it's a heterosexual relationship, usually the man is kind of the driver, because he's presenting himself to this woman saying like, hey, I want to do X, Y, and Z. And she should be able to say like, I'm in control and empowered to say yes or no, or I don't know yet, please elaborate further, whatever that is. But if any of those situations change in power, then that also complicates things, right? So it's more the placement of where you are and how you communicate, rather than like the levels of your communication itself, I'd say.
So it's almost like for lack of better words, the intimidation factor, or what you have to lose, can definitely have a large bearing on how you actually speak. Because that's a good point you said. Like if you're an employer, you feel like you can say whatever you want to the employee because you do have the power. You're the one who's calling the shots. But on the flip side, if you're on an interview or working for a client, you would be a little bit more timid or walking on eggshells, as you would call it, because you have something to lose: a client, money, revenue, profits, whatever it is, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So you have to be mindful of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
That level exists though. Like even in your I feel like there is a level to it that you'd almost if you had to pick one, I'd probably put your maybe home life. Assuming you're married or you're in a relationship, I'd probably say that's the level of like where your communication has to be on point and key for success. Like I think that you could probably run a business being fake, like you could probably be something that you're not,
or withhold information.
Yeah, all that stuff.
Absolutely.
You can be a bad friend. There's a reason why it's called bad friends, right? Or friends turn their back on you for someone else, because it's a lot of times for communication, And I've been an advocate of recent telling my family and all my group chat people. I don't know if you heard me say that, Frank. I'm like, yo, if anything big happens, it's worth a phone call. I think we got to get back to phone calls, because phone calls.
I'll call you out in a positive note. If something goes down, like it's very easy to be talking in group chat and someone's having a baby, you say, hey, congratulations, or someone's having an issue or whatever it is, and you might say in the group chat saying, hey, congratulations, or hey, sorry to hear. But even if it's not a phone call, if you do a direct message like, hey bro, I heard about this, congratulations, or I hope everything's okay, it goes a long way, because you're thinking, wow, this person took the extra, I know it's a text, but this person took the extra second to actually reach out directly to me to be like personal and make sure everything's cool. But I think like what you're about to say, a phone call or even in-person visit, given COVID times, is so much more substantially, like so much more important, right?
Yeah, in this day and age, so much gets lost in email. Even with us trying to put us three together, there was something that had to be cleared up, and a phone call pretty much cleared it up, right? I wasn't part of the phone call, but you guys, I trusted you guys would have figured it out, right? You know what I mean? So, but imagine that, like that's where we've come this in our society, I guess. And I'm speaking like old man now, but like it's like. That's where we're at. Where we're at, because so much tone gets lost, so much like levity gets lost. You know what I mean? Like there's something that's lost there in those texts and in those emails. Again, where you are not speaking in the way that you would have spoken to that person who, if they were in front of you. So that's a
good spot to. Sorry, I'm terrible at cutting people off. I think I said this before. I'm so sorry. And also, there's a little bit of a lag between us. I'm going to blame it on that. That's a good roll in to our next section. And that's why I wanted to stop there, because this is where we're getting to the meat and butter. Is that meat and butter?
To the what?
We're This is the meat of the conversation.
Bread and butter?
Bread and butter.
This guy goes
Yeah.
nutrition. What was the thing you said before? Nutrition, or what was it? What was it?
Nourish.
Nourish.
Nourishment.
Yeah,
Nourishment.
nourishment. And now we're getting into meat and butter.
Oh.
All right.
Yo, you ever having some meat and butter? It's a Vinci thing, yo.
That is not a Vinci thing. Is that a? That is not a Vinci thing.
So how men talk to men
Oh my
versus
God.
how men talk to women, or how women talk to women versus how women talk to men. I would like to start off by saying,
Could we put a
similar to what
disclaimer?
I
Could we
guess
put a disclaimer of gross generalizations are coming to come out now? Like the big generalizations are all coming out right now.
I think our viewers know this by now. Come on, man.
So just be prepared.
When you only have an hour-long podcast,
Yeah,
it's going to be generalizations. So I think I would want to just open up by saying a lot of people, if not everybody, well, I would say everybody, but most people are guilty of putting a mask on when talking to a man versus a woman due to whatever the topic or intent of the conversation is. And this doesn't just have to deal with sex or intimacy. It can even, I know we talked before about even like white lies. Let's say if you're in a relationship, like, your wife, husband, boyfriend, whatever, some people would elect, let's say if I'm talking to a guy, I can tell like my best friend, for example, straight up truth, honest opinion, because I know, just because I can't explain what it is, but just on the guy to guy level, I know that there's no, it's just straight goods. But I do know personally, like if it comes to my own girlfriend, sometimes, and she knows it, I'll tell a white lie because I think it's like I'm avoiding confrontation, or I don't know how I will handle telling the truth. And it'll be like a small situation, never anything major, but that is one of the masks that I personally do sometimes. And I can't even honestly tell you 100% why I do it.
I think women get unfairly cast in this light of like they can't take it, like a woman can't handle this opinion, this thing that you're gonna say, man. They can't take it, dude. You gotta turn it around, or like add some extra sauce, sweetness on it. You know what I mean?
You gotta sweeten it up, right?
Cool it down. Yeah, and I'm gonna say, like,
Right?
and like in my own personal life, like all my closest family members to me are all women. They're all women. Like all my cousins that I hang around with, all the cousins I grew up with, the ones that I'm super tight with, that I, like closer than family, like friend, like closer than that. They're all women, and I can say things to them that, like how you said, So I think what happens is if you don't have a circle of women like that, and maybe it's easy for me to do that because they are family, so there isn't a like
there's also a cultural aspect to it, I think.
Yeah, but there's also not like like there's like a topic out there about like having a female best friend. Like that's a very like touchy thing. Like if you're a guy, you got a female best friend, or the girl has a male best friend. That's kind of like a thing, right? It's almost like a underlying idea that something else is going on, something else. There's intentions there that aren't thing.
Right.
Once you have family, like they're like my cousins, again, family. It's easy to do it. And it's easy for me to do it in the same way that guys are able to do that talk. I'm able to do it, but I do get it. But I also do think that it's unfair that women get kind of cast in this generalized. Oh man, they can't take it. Yo, you gotta.
Amanda, I want to hear what you got to say.
Gotta massage.
I feel like you're on the edge of your seat. I got to hear it.
Oh my God.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
I mean, I think you're right about that. Like, there needs to be a balance. When I speak to guys that have a strong female presence in their life, either mother figure or sisters or cousins or a lot of family members that give them the experience to interact with women and understand how women speak, they're a lot more comfortable speaking to other women, obviously. But if you have like a guy that's been brought up with 3 brothers, they only know that one method of communication. So the difference between men that talk to men, like I said, it's they size each other up, they decide who's top dog, then there's a pecking order and they know exactly who's who, right? And then you just keep going down the stream. So if all the guys are going to go for a road trip, I'm pretty sure it's going to be the same guy that's going to be the one in the driver's seat every single time. It's undeniable. Or if there's 2 alpha dogs, they're going to fight over it every single time, right?
Or the one who's going to be leading the group to which bar they want to go to, or whatever.
Every single time. They take
This
turns.
man give himself a big up, yo. Don't give yourself a big up.
Who?
You know, the guy who got. You're the guy. You're the guy. The guy. He's trying to say he's the guy, Amanda. He's that guy.
I am not trying to say anything. I'm simply speaking.
He mentioned himself in a subliminal way. Anyways, go on.
I didn't do nothing.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So somebody is deciding who's top dog in this conversation right now, right? That's what's happening. So we're deciding.
Nah. I'm gonna back down. I'm gonna back down.
Right?
Yo, Amanda, you top dog here, man.
I'm alpha, right? And so that's the thing when women interact with each other, it's like communal, right? So they're probably going to take turns continuously. So she'll talk, then she'll talk, then she'll talk. Usually, that's going to change. So if a man and a woman are not talking, usually we're going to follow some gender rules, right? So if we're trying to decide what to eat for dinner, right? And a girl says, "Hey, do you want to get pizza for dinner?" And he just says, "No, I don't want pizza for dinner." Because as a man, you're just going to make decisions. It's kind of like a masculine role to be making decisions, like be decisive, be independent, be ambitious, know your shit, right? So if someone asks you, "Do you want pizza for dinner?" You're like, "No, I don't want pizza for dinner. I'm decisive. I'm an adult. I know what I want to do." She's going to be upset about this, right? And you're like, "Why is she upset? I don't understand." The reason is you didn't ask her if she wants pizza today. She asked you, so you ask her back. Right? And this is what happens with girls. Like, "Hey, what do you want to eat?" "I don't know. What do you want to eat?" And they just keep doing this back and forth, back and forth. That's how they, establish a bond, right?
It's like Notebook, man. Like when Ryan Gosling.
So that's why guys are just like. So the one thing that I learned, like, okay, you know what? I'm frustrated. Like, why won't you just take my first answer? So this is the one funny thing that I've realized is, men think that they have to repeat themselves constantly. Like, "Hey, I don't understand now to consider you." It's just because they were trained thinking that it's the right thing to do to make the decision, instead of collaborating and, together deciding on what to have for dinner. So these women are kind of asking for more of a conversation, but it's like a very simple conversation. Like, let's just decide, obviously. But it's that, and how do you reinforce intimacy in that sense? If you're talking about romantic sense, if the intent is to build, some kind of intimacy, then you kind of have to just consider that a little bit more than just the boys. It's like, hey, whoever is top dog is probably going to be like, "I'm choosing what's up for dinner tonight." It's like Papa John's or the other pizza spot, and there's no questioning. No one's going to be like, "Really? Are you sure?"
So what about that? What about the normal where a guy asks a woman, "Hey, what do you want to eat?" She's like, "I don't know. What do you want to eat?" And then you're like, "Yeah, but I'm asking you, what do you want to eat?" "I don't know. What do you want to eat?" Then
Anything.
you're like, "All right, let's have some pizza." "I don't want pizza." It's like,
they want anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want ramen? "I don't want ramen." So then there's the joke where instead of asking what they want, when you have to go to eat, you just say, "Hey, I'm taking you to your favorite place." And then they say that, oh, are we going to get some McDonald's? It's like, "Yeah, we're getting some McDonald's, girl. Yeah, I'm treating you nice tonight." You get some McDonald's.
I was gonna say that I could tell Amanda's not West Indian because my mom is not like my mom, aunts, cousins, and sister are not giving in like that, bro. They are the ones steering the boats, buddy. They're steering these ships. They're like no, this is what everyone's eating today. Everyone's eating this
you
food
thought you had
today.
a choice.
We're going here in the summer. We're going here this weekend. Hey, I'm doing this. You guys are coming with me. We're all going to. There's a cultural mix in there too, like that. There's a cultural factor, is what I'm trying to say, right? There's
that.
There's something in there that's a mix of it, like where those gender roles, and ideas of masculinity and femininity are sometimes flipped in different cultures, right? When it comes to certain things, So I'm making light of like something like food and trips and stuff like that, but probably stuff like purchasing a home or fixing a car or something like that. Something where it's like that stuff. It's probably assumed that the man is going to be, taking that role. Like it's just assumed, that it is like that way. But I think what's happening is that, like we call our podcast a coming of age, and I think a lot of that stuff is changing. A lot of that idea, there's a lot more gray now than there ever has been. I think, you know.
Mhm.
So here's a question. So and I'm going to give this question credit to Amanda. Fine, we're talking about men talking to women or men talking to men face to face. Okay, and
Okay.
you either put a mask on or you say what you got to say, you white lie, whatever it is. But they each talk different about the other gender when they're not face to face, like behind their back, right? So, and you know, a good point is if two guys are standing around and a lady walks by, the way a guy would talk to his buddy about that woman would be different than how the guy would talk to that same lady walking by in most cases. And I mean, Amanda, you can answer this, but for females, I wonder if there's a similar kind of interaction where a woman would talk to another woman specifically about a guy, whether it's sexual or not, but in front of that guy, it's a completely different person who's appearing.
I think they're the same, but you just feel more comfortable with your own gender. And then once you have something to prove, or represent yourself in a certain way, but then it's not you anymore, right? And I think that just me delayed. It's just you're still trying to impress when you shouldn't be. You should just say exactly in the same tone as how you say it, and hopefully your partner will begin to learn that version of your language.
But see,
And that is really like what I would say would be the change.
but see,
of
that would work.
communication.
That would work for a woman like yourself, I think, right? But it's probably hard, and probably that's what you're out to do here, right? Like you're out to kind of just you personally, you know what I'm saying? Is kind of like change that, right? Like have women not be maybe this idea of like always being empowered, like what's not empowered, the opposite, right? Of like not holding that power, you know what I mean? Like where men are holding this, hey, this is the direction we're gonna go. This is how the night's gonna end. Like I'm gonna decide how the night's gonna end, you know. But in truth, women probably hold 99% of the power in these relationships.
100%.
Heterosexual.
100%.
I mean, we're talking, and I think I'm talking heterosexually. I think we're all talking heterosexual relationships, right? That
yeah. The thing is, I think men know how much power women have, but women don't know how much power they have.
yes,
Because
exactly.
they've just over society, they just they just did not realize that. And I think if we want to talk about like different changing our communication style, so I'm seeing this guy now, and obviously abroad because I'm here in Mexico, and it's Mexico. So there's hot people around all the time. We're all in bikinis, it's Mexico.
They're on Frank style speedos.
So,
oh my gosh.
So there's action every day. It's not like I can go outside, right? There's a beach, there's sun, there's people, right?
There is action every day. We got to remember that.
Yo, I was gonna say something, but I let it go.
There is,
man, can't let that go. Hashtag action
happening.
Every day. Amanda Chen.
Action all day, every
Amanda
day. Masked
Chen.
up.
That should be
mask off.
That should be the
future.
That's gonna be the new slogan for the show. The Miss Amanda Chen Show. There is action.
Hey, I already know what song I'm putting on our Instagram story for this episode.
No. So there's action every day, and I felt I had like 1 inch of a moment where I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna tell him that this guy tried to kiss me today, some rando, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, if I was going to not tell him this because I'm assuming he's going to feel a certain way or whatever he is, then that's on me. So I'm like, you know what? I want to tell him because I want to stay authentic. I'm going to stick to my gun on being having intentions of how I want to express my relationship.
Yeah.
So I told it in a way when I was like, this is what happened. I can hold my own. I can protect myself. I'm letting you know that this happened. I feel like it's harassment, but you could think of it as I got myself into this situation. You could blame me and say, here I am in a bikini. You could say, I went outside.
Like, why are you there? Like, why are you in that situation?
Yeah,
why are you there? Yeah, sure.
Exactly. But luckily, when I told this to him, all he said was like, I'm sorry that happened to you. He didn't take it the way that it would normally be taken because I didn't hide it this time. Whereas I think that's what we end up doing. We hide things to protect other people, but we end up hurting them by not telling them like in full transparency what's going on.
But I think that goes back to
right?
I think that goes back to what you said before. How actually, I think Azam said it. How I guess men hide things because they think that maybe the female can't take it. But I think that actually applies both ways. I think also that a woman might hide something. Like in that situation, yeah, you were 100% honest, which is 100%. That's dope. But some women might be scared of how the guy would take it and twist it and maybe not even mention it because she also doesn't know how the guy would take it. And I don't know what really created that stigma in this society where you can't be 100% honest. But I know that one of the most common things that you can blame it on is maybe the history. Maybe someone had a bad history of where they did try to be honest about a similar situation and the guy or girl took it completely the wrong way. And human nature is you learn from your quote unquote mistakes and you don't do it in the future, right? But I agree. Like, I think that you should be able to say, oh, this is what happened. This was the scenario. This is how I dealt with it. Everything's okay. And the other person should be like, okay, I understand. It's unfortunately got in that position, but at least you came out unscathed and we are good, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
So,
it's
and that's why communication is so important.
and that part of that initial communication is important to knowing who your partner is too. That like maybe you're, because at some point you probably get in too deep. Like once you're like 6 months in, a year into a relationship, it's kind of hard to get out. I don't know if people could just walk out of like being like, you know what, this person's just not me. You know
Some
what I mean?
people can't. Hey,
Some
some
people
people
do. I know.
cold blooded
We don't know
and they're
about
just like,
that.
yo, I'm out.
Some
they
people
don't care.
do. I know some people do. I'm just saying for the most part, there's a reason why there's marriage counselors and couple counseling and all this, all this other stuff. All this stuff exists
Yeah.
because these guys are like, yo, man,
Business
this
is
shit
booming.
happened. Like, yeah,
You-
but yo, I can't believe she did this shit, man. Yo, I can't believe he did this shit. Yeah, you could believe it because he probably showed you who he was when you were in the beginning.
Uh-oh.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
there's that saying that's like, somebody shows you who they are, believe them. You know, and I think a lot of times you let that mask, that mask kind of overtakes that relationship, and you kind of look past stuff, especially early on, right? You look past the stuff early on. And in a scenario where like Amanda's telling this guy, "Hey, this happened to me," you know what I mean? It wasn't cool. I was not consent. Like I had no consent to doing like any of this stuff and all this whatever happened. Like I could hear guys saying, "Yo, why'd you put yourself there? Oh, yo, you shouldn't even have been out there. Yo,
Why
it's
were
your
you
fault.
wearing
shouldn't
that?
have
Why were
been.
you in
Why
that
you
part of
wearing that?
town?
Yeah, like
Right?
why are you so
What were
close
you
to him?
doing?
Like
Why
how
do you
close?
allow him to talk to
Yeah.
you?
Yeah, it becomes your fault now. You know what I mean? That this jerk went and does
All
this
of it.
stuff. You know
Why'd
what I
you-
mean?
yeah.
Why?
This creep goes and does this stuff, and it's like it becomes like a woman's fault. And isn't that the society we live in? Right? Like this 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 gross generalization of like just being blamed for it. Right? Like women are being consistently blamed for all this shit. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and it's not. It's yeah.
So I have a
Exactly.
question also. Do you guys think that, again, this is very general, do you think it's easier for same genders to have a stronger, more trusting connection than opposite genders?
Yeah,
And
100%.
you do? Yeah?
Mhm.
Can you elaborate? And this isn't a
So-
trap. I'm actually just curious.
It's
honestly.
a
Well, if
trap.
you think
It's
of,
a
like,
trap. It's a trap.
If you think of two sisters, two brothers, and a brother and sister, 3 different households.
Right.
The two sisters are going to be closer. The two brothers are going to be closer, and the brother and the sister usually won't be. Right.
Right.
So that's
Right.
just binary stuff, no matter what. If they're twins, that'll be even more close. Right. So, yeah, I think it doesn't matter. I think no matter what.
What do you think about?
Closely
Sorry, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's it. Yeah, like no matter what, biology speaking, right? Like there's going to be unspoken communication, but in terms of verbal communication, like it's a lot easier to speak with something that you already know without having to speak.
And what do you think about, I guess, women who have males as best friends, or vice versa, men who have women as best friends, and they feel like they can talk to, that person a lot more honest and confident than, their similar gender best friend, whatever. You know what I mean? I probably worded that very bad, but there would be. I guess there are instances where
you need more
people do.
You need more nourishment, and
I do, man. I gotta call CC up and be like, "Yo, give me
I
some
get it.
nourishment. Help me, yo, I'm dying."
Yeah.
But yeah. So I guess what I'm saying is it like black and white, or there's always going to be exceptions to, let's just call it the rule, right?
I encourage that. You know what? I think that society just played this role that everyone is going to like want to have sex with each other. You know, this stupid mentality that we're all like savages and we can't control ourselves. And as soon as we're with like the opposite sex, suddenly like something has a second connotation. And the only relationship that's okay is if the other person's gay or something, right? And
Right.
that's just what media has taught us. But actually, like, we can all get along with each other probably a lot more. You know, there's probably more similarities in your character, your behavior, your career path, you know, interests, opinions, you know, whatever they are, that makes you more connected to one person than another. I think gender, there is an unspoken language, but also there's unspoken languages of interests and characteristics and behavior styles. If you're like more logical and versus a more creative type, you'll just connect better with those types of people in general, and there shouldn't be, you know, any ways about it.
And then going back to I guess your notion, which I like, of being honest with whomever you run into. So far, I guess maybe we can kind of roll into the last part where, actually no, this would be probably the last part of this last part of the middle section. There you go.
Okay.
So we talked about being honest or clear communication within relationships, within work, etc. Now, what about even first dates? But what about first meetings or first introductions? And let's say it's not a first date, because we always talk about dating. So let's just say you meet a friend through a friend, and some people are able to be, for example, I'll throw myself under the bus. I throw out very blunt jokes, probably borderline, where some people can definitely take it the wrong way. But I will do that with someone I just met right now, almost like an icebreaker. And although it's a joke,
he doesn't have a good like you know, like that gauge, you know, like
Filter?
let's say like not even filter, just like not even filter. I would say he doesn't have a good like sense of the, like awareness.
Sense
of
the crowd.
Yeah, the crowd. Yeah, like
so no. Here's the thing, though. I do, and I just like to remain authentic of who I am. Like, I like to tell jokes, I like to bust balls, and so I would do that with someone who I just met, just because it's second nature. It just happens. Do you think that there should, because now technically, if I pull back, am I not putting like a mask or a filter on my own self, or I should just be like, no, this is who I am, and either you take it or you leave it?
There's some civility, man. You have to have some sort of civility, man. You can't just be like,
okay, I don't go aggressive to people. You know what I mean? Come on.
Listen, let me tell a story. Can I tell a story without any names or no?
No, I want to hear Amanda's response first. You talk too much,
God.
I want to tell a story so bad. Okay,
remember the story. I want to hear what Amanda thinks.
Yeah.
Okay, I would say, yeah, remain 100% authentic to yourself. There's going to be some people that are going to accept it, some people that won't accept it, and that's cool, right? At least you know who's going to take it or not.
Yes.
But what's the story? You got to tell me the story.
Yeah, I know. What is the story? Yeah, now I got to hear.
So, no names, okay? No names. So, one of our brethrens, one of our friends, is dating a girl. And I believe the girl, they're having like some house party. And
wait, this is one of our brethrens, like you and I?
Yeah. And
okay.
And the girl has a sister. Now, Amanda, pardon me for my the sister, in layman's terms, Bati is huge, big
Okay.
Bati. Right?
Okay.
Frank goes beside our friend and loudly.
Yo, you said no names.
loudly. I didn't say any names.
You just said my name.
No, I know you did it. No, I'm saying this is a story about you. This is a story about you. Frank did it. Frank goes beside our friend, who is sitting beside his girlfriend, whose sister is like dancing, like in the thing, and he goes, "Yo," "Yo, so she bati big." Yo, oh man, in front of the like that is Frank's. That is Frank.
Hang on,
and it is great.
Hey.
And it is great because if you're on the peripheral, I wish I was there for that. Like I wish, because I'd be on the floor crying, dying.
Stop.
No. Our buddy gets in a huge argument fight later on. because of
this day.
because of this guy's comment, man. So anyway, that's the story.
But let me add the added information that you're not throwing out there. I didn't go directly to the to his girl's
she was
sister,
right
be like,
there.
yo, Bati's big. First of all, I didn't even have a Caribbean accent on, but I didn't realize she was there, and I said it to
So
our
that's what I'm saying. He
boy.
doesn't have a good,
Like I said it to him.
like he doesn't
but
show
I
up.
didn't realize.
He doesn't show up
Yeah,
and
but
be
I'm
like,
talking about meeting someone and telling them to their face a joke, man.
yeah, but
This
you're not
guy.
surveying the area. You're not surveying the situation of like, is this a
One
safe
time.
place? Is this a safe place and a safe volume to say this?
One time.
Anyways, that's
All right, fine.
Oh,
Okay,
man.
so Amanda, if you were the girlfriend,
good one. Yeah,
there you
yeah.
go. So
There you
if
go.
you were the girlfriend, so let's
Nice.
say I
Yeah.
went and I
Okay.
told your man who's standing beside you, I was like, hey, Amanda's sister's body looks nice, and you were there and you heard me tell your man this. What would you do?
Yeah. Nothing. That's whatever you guys talk about.
She's a ride or die right there. She's cool.
Oh, she's a different.
chill.
This is a different kind
She's
of woman,
chill,
man.
yo.
Hey, listen, this is a different kind of woman. Man. This is a special kind of person.
This should be every kind of woman. I don't know, but
I love how you
Special
said
kind of
no
woman.
names, and this guy says Frank. First word he
No,
says.
it's the
My
story.
goodness.
First of all, the story was about you off the bat. I was like, I got a story
All
about Frank.
right.
Yeah.
So going on to the last section. How communication can be more transparent / effective, and this is again with all combinations of genders. I think we can kick it off by saying, first of all, honesty is key, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
So instead of trying to hide facts or be worried about the outcome or the effects of what you're going to say, it's almost like you say man up or woman up and just kind of say what you have to say as it's supposed to be said. Agreed or disagreed? Maybe someone can elaborate.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's like the basics to start with. But what I learned recently is if it didn't work the first time, as in you didn't think that person heard you or understood what you were saying, try again. Try again, maybe tomorrow again. Because if you doubted that they understood you the first time you said it, most likely they didn't get it.
Right.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Sometimes I hear something from someone else and I'm like, at first impression, I'm like, what the fuck did you just say? And then I take it a certain way. But then tomorrow I might be like, wait, okay, now I kind of get it. And I didn't respond very well. So I want to readdress that conversation again, open it up again. I'd have reacted kind of, overreacted maybe, because I took it at face value. But can we have this conversation again? Can you elaborate further on this part? I just want to make sure I understood you because probably I didn't.
And some people just need time. You're right. Absolutely.
So I think that needs to happen a little bit more of like reopening. Yeah. Yeah. We expect the answer like ASAP immediately. And we take that answer as the final answer. Where I think communication styles need to switch where the conversation keeps going. You open it, you close it, you'll reopen it again.
So I think one thing that I like to, or one myth I like to
dispel,
bust, I guess,
dispel
is how people say dispel. You can say bust, Mythbusters. How the common thing is, two guys can get in an argument and then be perfectly fine 5 minutes later because they get rid of it. Whereas
that is not true.
The stereotype
Men fight like
I know, but this is what I'm saying. Like the stereotype is that women are the ones where they will argue right now and then it'll go on for months. Now, is that completely false? I'm not going to say it's false. There is some truth to it, sure, but there's truth on both sides where men can also have long, arguments. But I think what Amanda said, she hit the nail on the head. It's like, a lot of times, which human nature, you might hear some news and you might react a certain way. It's impulsive. It's fine. But I think the key is if you can step back and not necessarily admit you're wrong, but just admit that you needed some time to hear what was said, you should circle back and say, hey, okay, let's have this conversation again because, I had some time to think about it, maybe apologize. Yeah, I reacted, whatever it is, or maybe not. But the fact that you go back and try to have that conversation would be key. And we're purely talking about disputes right now, which is pretty important.
I think we're all like victims of this history of like these lies, right? Like this science that's lied to us, this media that's lied to us.
Yeah, absolutely.
That because you probably find more often than not, especially as you get older and if you get a little bit more wiser and you look around and you're aware of what's going on around you, you'll probably find that for every woman that does something, there's a man that does the same thing. For every man that does something, there's a woman that does the same thing. We're way more alike than we give ourselves credit for, you know? And I think a lot of what's happened is insecurities, you know, and these insecurities, I think, drive a lot of this miscommunication, fear of someone thinking a certain way about you. So you kind of, again, like back to Amanda's the podcasts, right? Masks, like it seems like a theme that we've touched on on our episode anyway. That we keep putting up these masks, and pretty much behind all that is probably insecurities, and just it's been built with this history of like BS, you know, of like this inferiority that exists, or this way that a man should act a man should be this way, a woman should be this way. In this instance, this is how you should speak. In this instance, this is how you should act. You know what I mean? Like, and I think a lot of that, again, like I think the good thing about social media is that it shines so much light on achievements, and it shines a lot of light on the negativity, and it shines a lot of light on the positive stuff. That gives you this, again, to me, it gives me an overwhelming idea that, again, we're so much more alike than we are different, you know, gender-wise.
Yeah, and so I think you're right. Like, we put a lot of our self-worth in the hands of others, right? Whether that's
I like that.
How you appear in on social media, or whatever that expectation is, right? And then that's when we're like, what are we? What's our self-worth like? Right. We've given it away to everyone. Yeah,
that's deep. I like that. I like how you said that. That's pretty sick, actually. So then, with regards to communication again and being honest, what other communication practices, let's say, should we employ to improve, let's just say, society in general? Like, so that way it's a blanketed kind of conversation.
I think I recently started thinking about check-ins. You know how you have like a card check-in, you know? General checkups, like a health checkup, like any kind of checkup. You have a communication checkup, just to be like, hey, I think we should just check in every like 3 months to make sure that we didn't miss anything. Because if you're gonna say, like, some people might hold grudges over like some random thing that happened, it's like, now is your chance to talk about whatever this is.
Say what you got to say.
Our check-in, right? And a good thing to say afterwards is, yeah, you're right. I think it's a good time. Like, if someone says like, hey, I think we should talk, you can be like, yeah, I think we should. And then you're like, shit, why should we talk?
It's just a stare down. Yeah, I think we should. And that applies to all kinds of relationships, whether it's intimate, work, buddies, third circles, what have you. I like to think a good thing, actually, that you said check-ins. I like the idea of just simply checking in, like not even for something specific, but, you know, we all have our best friends, of course, and we all have, you know, our circles that kind of go out like an onion. But I think it's also good just to message or call someone, just, hey, man, just saying what's up, seeing how you doing. And that can just kind of, it doesn't show that doesn't only show that you care about the person, was think about them, but that also shows that you can call someone and you're not expecting something. I think that communication can also change when you feel like someone is like building up to ask you for something or to do something. But if I know in the back of my mind that, oh, no, this guy, you know, my brethren checked up on me just last week just to say what up, then it doesn't make me as confrontational or as defensive when someone does come to say hello or, you know, what have you. And that can actually help just open lines of communication, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think we get used to thinking that when someone's talking to us, they need something. And then you feel like obligated to respond.
Yeah.
And then again, it becomes like a obligation instead of a genuine just concern for this person, you know, and then we kind of lose the point of that communication and that relationship, and it becomes performative, you know, like I got to do something to prove that I'm still loyal to this person, or I can perform this task or whatever it is. And again, it goes back to putting your self-worth into their hands, right? So switching it up and checking in general is going to make you feel safer in that relationship.
Oh, I got a question. So then, Amanda, so are you an advocate against guys or girls doing the I meant to ask you this earlier, doing the 3-day rule?
What's the 3-day rule?
What? Where like
I don't know what the 3-day rule.
I don't
where
know
like
either.
let's say you meet someone at a bar and you catch the number. Instead of messaging like
3
the night
days.
of or the day after, you wait 3 days and be, oh hey, how's it going? And then it's like, well, why did you wait so long to message me? I don't get it. Why didn't you just say what's up? I can honestly say I've only applied that once.
Amanda not doing that, man.
So I don't get it. Wait, who's doing the 3-day rule? Like the girls?
Wait,
guy,
the guys?
you honestly, you never heard of this, guys?
I never heard of this, but I know what you're talking. I didn't know it was called a
What?
rule, but I've seen it. I've heard of it in essence.
It's
of
in
like don't call
every
right away.
movie. Like when a guy gets numbers, like you don't call right away. You gotta wait a couple of days, let it settle in, let it marinate.
A next man already
Okay.
move in there, guy. A next man already.
Yeah,
That's your
I don't know
mistake.
about that.
Yeah,
next
but
man
the
already
idea
moved
is
in
like the
there.
next man looks like he's like desperate when you're just like, all right, I'll catch you later because you guys never. I can't be on my own.
Yo,
on
this
one.
girl's in Mexico right now, man. Pure action outside the door. Man. You think the man's waiting for 3 days? You think the man's waiting 3 days to talk to this girl?
I don't know about that.
All right,
Man's
I'm
waiting
out.
3
All right,
days to talk.
forget I asked. I was doing so well, and I just salted up.
Oh man.
Anything else on effective communication and how we can achieve it?
I mean, I think that those are some really cool things that we said, like those, kind of making sure it's not an obligation, checking in, saying it again, giving yourself that time to process, right? I think those are very different ways of communicating that we don't talk about and we don't learn about in school. It's not something we practice. So I think the only thing I'd say now is try to flex that muscle and from that awareness, keep trying because if you've never practiced it, neither is other people. So we're all going to struggle in how we're going to communicate.
I think the last thing I would say is just treat everybody as, I don't know if this would work. This is me really stretching out a limb, but I think it'd be treat everybody as if they have no gender. Not literally no gender, but I mean, try speaking to a man how you would talk to a woman, and don't skew my words. I knew exactly Azam was gonna laugh. And try speaking to a woman how you would talk to a man. Now, obviously, I'm not talking about sexually. I just literally mean if you feel you can be honest toe to toe with a dude, try being toe to toe with your girl, for example. And I say that because actually with my girlfriend, I actually do we actually had this conversation on the weekend with some friends. I know that some people see us as like we can be like an aggressive relationship, as in like we tell each other exactly how it is. But I love that because it's like, no, I know exactly what you're thinking. If you think I'm being a dick, you're telling me I am being a dick. Whereas some people might shy away from telling their the counterpart that just because maybe they have some to lose or whatever. But I feel like if you treat each person, male or female, honestly and kind of give them the respect that they can handle what you're going to say, that can only better their own, I don't know, just better their communication skills, I guess, in general, maybe. That's kind of like my final take on things.
I'm gonna challenge that thought. I'm gonna say, rather than treat everyone like the same, to treat everyone different, because everyone is different. So knowing that you're the one that kind of likes things straightforward and blunt, you're going to just request that someone doesn't talk to you in circles. Like I am very straightforward as well. I don't like, if I find out I'm talking about apples and you're talking about oranges, I don't want to continue the conversation, so I'll shut it down. Whereas people might find that rude, right? But I don't want to entertain the continuation of that. So I will speak to everyone. Every interaction you have with someone, you speak a specific language with. So you're going to always tweak your language no matter what. So I would say speak to everyone differently, being aware of what their historical paths are and experiences are and how they like to be spoken to. But then also make sure that they respect the way that you speak. Because otherwise, apples and oranges, there's no point in you guys talking anymore.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
No, that's a good point. I like that, actually. Azam, any take on that?
I have no take. I think I think that is the best way. I think
Drop
like
the mic.
yeah. I think that's the best way to end this portion of the show. To be honest with you, yeah. You gotta give the guests the last say, man. Always.
Yeah, I just want to say one more thing. I'm just joking.
So
I'm
with
joking,
that being said,
Here we go.
with that being said,
wait, tell her the rules.
what you mean? What do you mean?
The only
Oh, I need
rules.
to know
So,
the ropes, yeah.
so we're gonna introduce this next segment, and you have to.
Why?
You're obligated to make a random sound of your choosing. Don't hold back.
Oh, this.
Don't hold back.
Okay.
Do not hold back. Okay. What time is it, Azam?
Alright. Okay, so Amanda, that is not my rule. That's a Frank rule. That's not my rule. Just let you know. Let you know offhand. It is time, everyone, for everyone's. I'm talking everyone. Anyone that ever listened to a podcast ever. This is everyone's favorite
Everybody.
segment.
Everybody.
Anytime, any show, anywhere. This is everyone's favorite segment. It is time, once again, for spitting in 5.
I can't tell if she's doing it.
I can't tell if she's frozen. I can't tell if Amanda's frozen or just like I'm not participating. All she sees is like shoulders, like bop 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 bop. So what he was trying to say
left
is,
us though, man. You were supposed to make some noises.
Oh
you
my
left
God.
us.
what he was trying to make you do was when we cue that, he always does some sort of sound effect. So he always wants the guest to make a sound effect. Do you want to participate in the sound effect, Amanda?
Okay.
Okay, so let's rewind it again.
We gotta do it again.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right. Oh man.
It is time, everyone. I'm not gonna be long-winded. It is time, everyone, for everyone's favorite segment, spitting in 5.
5.
You can beatbox. You can do whatever you want. She did something.
What?
I think it's just
I just
frozen.
lost you.
Oh, did it freeze? Did it freeze? I didn't hear anything.
You know what? Maybe that's the universe telling us to just keep moving. Man. Just keep moving.
Man. All right. Everybody, welcome to the final segment of the show. This is Spittin' in 5, spelled with a 5. For those of you who do not know, live underneath a rock, or are not listening to one of the top 2 podcasts other than Amanda's, Spittin' in 5 is quite simply where I choose a topic of, well, my choice, as I just said. Amanda and Azam do not know what it is. They don't know if it's a question, a situation, but I get to ask it because it's my damn segment. Are you two ready for this week's question?
Okay.
Yes.
Let's go.
Okay. It's a scenario. It's a barren land. This is 2300. Shit went down.
Wow.
It's an apocalyptic world.
Wow.
There's zombies and monsters and shit walking around. It's crazy out there. You're running, ducking, just weaving, whatever.
Right.
You get into the storage room. You're back against the wall. There are 3 weapons on the floor. You can only use one, and this is going to be your ride or die to get out of this situation. Okay? There is a baseball bat. There is, a wooden baseball bat. Let me be specific. There is a dagger, call it 6 inches. And then there are brass knuckles.
Whew.
Which one are you going to use? And this is like, you only get one shot, and this is, you gotta survive with this weapon. Baseball bat, which is wooden, a dagger, which is like, a knife, or brass knuckles.
And what is attacking? What's the attacking things?
Just zombies. Call it zombies.
Zombies. Holy shit! Like what zombies like?
Okay.
The fast type. The fast type.
fast
Not
one.
the slow.
Shit.
Not the slow.
Yeah, yeah.
Like the ones who can give you a good juke.
I am Legend style ones.
Yeah.
Oh, I know exactly what I'm using.
Okay, Amanda, you go first.
Oh damn. Okay, go.
I'm for sure using the wooden bat.
The wooden
Yeah.
bat. Wow, I
The
never
reason
would have thought
why,
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Dead easy. I know it's gonna be the wooden bat
Crazy.
because I used to box. I used to take boxing classes, and I hated having shorter arms than everybody else. So I had to take a hit before I could hit back, right? So I'm gonna choose the longest item there because then I don't have to touch people, you know, it's like it's further off. Then I don't have to get hit or touched or bitten or any of these things because if I have the brass knuckles, that's like the hardest thing. I have to get really close.
Yeah,
You know, same thing with the dagger. You gotta get really close to these.
So you're just swinging.
Yo, are you doing like
That's
a
what I
tornado
do.
move? Like you just have it out and just just like losing it, like that kind of thing, like a tornado.
But what if it breaks? I did
You
say wooden.
betcha.
What if it
Yeah.
breaks?
Oh
Then you
shit!
shit out of luck. Yeah. See, you gotta think. What if the wooden bat
Woo.
breaks?
Hey man, you're going down with the ship, man. What are you gonna do? You gotta go down with it. It's a lose. This sounds like a lose-lose situation because you're in a
Yeah, I
storage
know,
closet.
That's all I got.
These zombies are coming.
That's
You're just biding time. The inevitable is gonna happen.
all you
Like
got.
the inevitable.
All right. So Dan, which one are you using? Baseball
I
bat,
am gonna
dagger, or brass
carve
knuckle?
these sons of a bitches up, man. I will carve these guys from loin.
Okay.
I will just rip. I would probably do tornado move with the knife, with the dagger, and just lace and lace. You're gonna go, man. You're gonna go. But I think the dagger. The thing was with the bat. I thought about the bat, but I was thinking, if I got this bat, they can go low, you know, like they can go low. I'm not gonna be able to go low. But with the knife, you can kind of go low, come
You got
up,
a bad back.
you know, something. No, but like a bat is effective. A bat's effective at a high level. Like you got to swing it. You know, like you can do a quick.
You got it.
Yeah, like you can. But a knife, I would go dagger, and I would say you can. I'm like doing motions here by myself. But you can like poke, you can stab, you can hit eyes, you can hit loins. You know, how do you kill a zombie? What's the weak point of this scenario you have? Is there a place where you hit them and
It's
it's
just to
dead?
cut their head off. I think.
Oh shit!
There's many ways.
Yeah,
Many
Amanda's
ways.
dead. She's not cutting no heads off. These guys just
Yeah, you got a
respawning.
bat,
They're just
yo.
What
respawning,
if you
man.
like smash
You gotta break vertebrae. You know how hard it is to
Yeah,
break
she's
someone's
gonna-
vertebrae?
He's gonna respawn. All these zombies gonna respawn on her. They're gonna drop and come back up. Drop and come back up.
I'm back, yo.
I'm
You
back.
didn't know.
Nah, I'm back.
I can't get no concussions.
Surprise! Surprise!
Yo, I'm 100% doing brass knuckles.
Now I knew you were gonna do this. Now, what kind of foolishness are you gonna do with these brass knucks? dude?
Okay, of
Listen,
course.
you gotta think. Zombies, they're already decaying, right? Their
Yeah.
skin's all shitty. Yo, brass knuckles, you give a zombie a good punch, yo, their face is falling off. They're gone. Problem with a dagger that I think is a dagger can get lodged. If you stab a zombie like in the ribs, it can get lodged in the ribs or the neck or the skull. You can't get that out. But if you give a zombie
It's
a
a
good
knife.
box,
It went in, it comes out. A knife goes in, it comes out. It makes its path. You make the path,
nah,
and you come
man,
out the
knives
same
can
way.
get lodged in
They can get
bone.
stuck. No, that can get
No.
stuck.
Oh, you both are the
100% get
worst.
stuck.
You both
You
are
don't
gonna.
know. You ain't
Number
no,
one,
you ain't
I
no Jane
promise.
and Finch, man.
I promise.
You
this-
ain't no Jane and Finch,
I
man.
promise. If the scenario is we're all three in storage closets, I'm gonna last the longest.
Hey,
I'm definitely
okay,
lasting.
yeah,
the
but
longest.
do you think of this? It's a storage closet. It's not big. Yo, close combat, man. What are you gonna do swinging a bat around? A bat's like what, 4 feet long?
Oh, now you're ripping Amanda's bat. So now now we all got the bad. So we all got the bad weapons. We all got the bad weapons. You got the brass.
Anyways.
You got some super brass knucks that exist.
Yo, holy water on those guys. Vampires too, guy.
Okay, so that concludes.
Anyways, that is spin 5
Oh
this
my
week.
God.
That is Spit in 5. Amanda, we can't thank you enough for coming by this week. It is an honor. You were great. I wish we could do this again. You must have Instagrams and hashtags and all these things out there. Please let everyone know where they can find you, find your shows, find your areas of business, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for having me on the show. It's been so much fun just kicking it with you guys. All of my socials are very on brand. Everything's at Miss Amanda Chen. So you can find me there on Instagram. or missamandachen.com. And if you do want to be on the show, we do have a forum for you at it's at 100maskmen.com. So that's 100maskmen.com. And if you want to be one of the 100 masked men, we got 50 more coming to be on the show.
Azam, how about you
sir.
tell the people where they can reach us?
Yeah.
Yes, you can find us anywhere you listen to your podcast, anywhere you listen to your music. You can find A Coming of Age, the podcast. You can email us anytime at acomingofage.thepodcast@gmail.com. We're on Twitter. We're on IG. Where else is there? Facebook, Tumblr. Anywhere you can find
I still don't know what Tumblr is. I have no idea what Tumblr is.
Tumblr is like a
You
bunch
ask me what Tumblr is?
Come
I
on.
have no idea.
What
What do you mean, come on? You didn't know about the 3-day
It's
rule.
not
You tell me I don't know Tumblr? Come on, guys.
Calling you out, yo. Calling you out. Calling you out. But yeah, you can find it.
Man.
You can
I
find
can't believe
Go
you
ahead.
didn't know about Clubhouse. I had to tell you about that today.
Frank doesn't know
called me
about
out.
this stuff. Frank doesn't know about this kind of stuff. He's a busy guy. This is a busy guy. It's busy.
I've never heard of Clubhouse. Not once.
Clubhouse is the
I gotta
new
look it
thing,
up
man.
still.
It's audio. It's
You
all
know
audio.
about Clubhouse?
Brother, I live in the world. You don't live in the world, man. You don't live in the world.
Yeah.
Clearly, I'm the only one who does. I know 3-day
Oh.
rule. You guys don't know. You guys can talk about Clubhouse.
You watching movies, yo. We living in this real world, yo. We watch. But
Anyways, Amanda,
yes.
it was such a pleasure having you on the show. Thank you for honestly coming through, and you were a great vibe, great content, and honestly, your podcast is doing great stuff as well. And again, thank you so much. You're amazing.
Thank you so much. Awesome.
Chucky.